go ahead and get started, and Commissioner Bryant will be back with us in just a second. With that, welcome everybody to our meeting here on July 15th. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from our previous meeting held back on about a month ago, on the 17th of June. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Minutes passed. Second is to do a retirement for Samuel Duncan, who's, or is that,
Yeah, he couldn't make it today, so.
he's already retired? What is he? That's fine, we'll get Samuel Duncan.
We'll have him back in 2 weeks.
At the next
That's
one?
plan. Okay.
Be our pleasure. And then, are we doing the introduction of the
Yeah,
minutes? Okay,
yeah,
great.
we are, and Forrest is going to do the introduction of two of our municipal interns.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Afternoon.
This year we have 3 internship openings. We've hired 2 of them thus far, made an offer to a third, so that person will not be here today. But as you know from my telling you about this last year, each intern kind of spends some time with different divisions within the department, gets kind of a good overall feel for what the department does as a whole and everything. This year, we've hired Esther Swanson back. She was an intern for us last year.
Yes, good to see you.
And we've hired Ryan Ebling. Esther is graduated already from the University of Missouri Kansas City, working on her master's degree. Yes. Correct. And Ryan his internship is the last thing he has to do to graduate from the University of Missouri.
Very good. So we'll hold you hostage, how's that?
We've got them both for 12 weeks. So they can do whatever we want. So.
There you go.
Anyway, so just want to tell you about them, and thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. On to the next order of business, resolution number 30248.
Yes, Commissioners, this resolution is for consideration to name a section of Grand Boulevard for former Mayor Berkeley. We have a resolution in front of you that outlines that request, and then I'm going to ask Travis to bring Mr. Perry up here, too.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This resolution that's before you is a result of the initiative that was a city-sponsored initiative that the Parks Department and Port Authority were welcome partners in, and proud to be a part of this as far as the naming of this segment from Grand Viaduct over to Kit Bond Bridge of Grand Boulevard, Berkeley Parkway. Joe Perry with the Port Authority is here today, and he can tell you a little bit more about the project.
Commissioners, I just am pleased to be here today to ask you to consider the renaming. The Port Authority asked for a street naming plan associated with the finally platting all of the land on the riverfront just a month and a half ago. And as a consequence of asking for that renaming, we hadn't anticipated the need to rename Grand, but we were delighted when the city staff collectively had the idea of renaming this section that, for technical reasons, needed to be renamed, where it goes east to west, to Berkeley Parkway. It really brands the goals that I think that the Board of Parks Commissioners might share with the Port Authority Board of Commissioners in making the Berkeley development, the Berkeley Riverfront development, a special name, and branding that name even one more time. We understand as a Port Authority that there will be some cost and to the Missouri Department of Transportation. We've taken those costs into consideration. We're planning to absorb those costs in the signage that will be necessary on the interstates. So today, if you had any questions, I would take them, but otherwise, we're delighted that you and the staff have brought this before your commission to approve this finally, so that this can be a certain part of the development, the renaming of Grand.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions? Any other comments?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. We're going to go to item number 6, resolution number 30249.
Yes, Commissioner, this is consideration, the licensed facility use agreement for the 2014 Plaza Art Fair. You have a memo in your packet from Shannon Dooley. It outlines the days of the event coming up in September of this year and the compensation, and then, of course, all the contractual requirements. And with that, Shannon is here if you have any additional questions.
Any questions of Shannon at this time regarding this event, regarding this resolution? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion is seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good, resolution passes. Resolution number 30250.
Okay, another item that Shannon is handling, and this is a new event for 2014. Humanitarian games that would take place down on Tice Park. Go ahead, Shannon.
One-day event over in Tice Park in October, the last Saturday in October. Plaza Rotary is going to put on this event with your approval. Bob Merrigan, club president, is here to discuss the event. I've got some handouts for you. Come up here, Bob. You can probably do it more justice than me.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I appreciate the chance to be here. The Humanitarian Games is a new event. It's a unique event, and it started really with a focus on one of the Plaza Rotary Club's primary beneficiaries, Shelter Box, which is a international relief organization, and expanded to include the Urban Rangers, which is another of our primary beneficiaries. And in short, it's a one-day event that celebrates service, which is what the Rotary is all about, and it celebrates community. And we're delighted to be focused in really the heart of our community as the Plaza Rotary, and looking forward to creating an event in the park that can be successful this year, hopefully successful enough that it will become an annual event. And that's our goal. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are these done in other cities?
Oh,
No,
wow.
no, this is really the first of its kind.
This is
So,
great.
yeah, it is.
Very
Thank you. It's
You got
very
us all
exciting.
enthralled, we're just reading
Yeah.
through this.
Yeah.
Great to learn more about it. When is it going to be again? When?
October 25th.
Okay, great.
Where is-
In Boca. At Peace Park.
We have met with, we've met with the mayor, who is enthusiastically supportive. We've met with the police department, the fire department, and emergency management. The police and fire department have all agreed to enter teams, to provide teams, and kind of how we're positioning the games portion of it is to pit your best against our best. So these are the first responders, and those are the levels we want to achieve. And that's the games portion. The education portion, we're inviting a number of groups from the Community Blood Bank to Heart, people organizations that really come together to respond to disasters, to be available to educate the public, the community, about what it is they do. And then, of course, the community element, we will have food and music and more social area as well.
But no prizes, it's just more to see if you can do it and have the experience of it?
If there are prizes, they would be pride prizes,
Pride prizes,
yes,
okay.
Yeah. Well said.
as it were.
Will the Plaza Rotary have a team?
It won't include me if they do. I'm not sure if there will be a team competing or not. I suspect there will be some Rotary teams.
Okay.
Well, then
We will probably have a
We're going to
team.
have to compete too then.
Uh-oh. We could arrange
You
that.
know who we compete with in Dragon Boats, don't you?
Uh-oh. It's fuzzy. I've heard, I have heard the Plaza Rotary had a decent record in Dragon Boat, so.
Yeah, it's almost as good as Casey Parks and Recreation.
In other words, he's throwing down the gauntlet here to
Time to go. There you
you.
go.
Tell me a little bit about the Shelter Box Village.
Our goal there is to invite teams. A shelter box tent can house up to 10 people. And so it would be teams of up to 10 people who will raise money, and our target is $1,250 they would raise for the privilege of living in disaster conditions from early morning on Saturday morning until the next morning. And by that, you would turn in your cell phones and your iPads and any provisions that you might have on your person. You will come in, you will be given a shelter box. You and your team can set up the tent, and you can use the provisions that are in the tent. You can use the meager provisions that would be provided, much like in any aid camp, the foods that are provided to get you through that 24-hour period. And then for that entry fee, one of the ways Shelter Box works is these boxes are deployed in disasters. So in the Philippines, for example, they're sent over. They were used in Oklahoma at the tornado, Haiti. But if you've sponsored a box, you can track your box. And so part of that cost, most of that cost, frankly, covers a box, and your team will know then when your box is deployed and where it goes.
Very cool.
And I hope the Parks Department will do that as well.
All right. Very good. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you for the presentation. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for your
Is there a
consideration.
motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. The resolution passes. On to resolution number 30251.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a presentation and consideration of the approval for the Columbus Square Park Master Plan. And Jocelyn's got some handouts for us. Travis, want to do a little quick introduction for us?
Right. Commissioners, Jocelyn Ball Edson will be, she's the project manager for this master plan for Columbus Square Park, and Jocelyn will be going through the master plan. She's handing out copies right now, and will introduce the community representatives that are here today that will discuss some of the features that were incorporated into the master plan.
Good afternoon. I, first of all, would like to present Mr. Ralph Keys, who is here from the Columbus Park neighborhood. And Mr. Keys has been an integral part of the entire planning process, filing all the PIAC requests and back several years, and has been very instrumental in helping to promote the development of the master plan that we've been working on. I've been working with the Neighborhood Association for 2 years, I think. And your handout that you have describes a little bit of the location of the park and some of the current conditions and the history of the park. I'll just briefly go over some of the highlights. The north half of the park was originally developed in 1908, 1910 as Washington Square Park, and the Carnes School occupied the south half of the park. And George Kessler designed the plans for the north half in 1910, 1911. And in the 1960s, basically from 1967 to 72, the park was redesigned, essentially obliterating everything of the Kessler plan except for that north staircase. And it was designed in a more 1960s, 70s style. In the 1980s, the school was torn down and the south half of the park was added into the rest of the park, and the street through the middle was vacated.
Let me,
Yes.
the part that the school, Carnes School sat in this segment right here, this whole half of the
Yeah.
park area.
And Pacific Street went straight across the middle. So the north half was the park. And after 1980s, various improvements were constructed. The south half of the park never really quite blended with the north half. They were very different styles, asphalt versus scored concrete walks and things like that. And then the playground that is there now was added about 14 years ago, and the gazebo and shelter, and then also the bocce courts were put in the late 80s, I believe. The current conditions are that the sidewalks are broken and cracked, and things are not in great repair. There are 2 staircases within the center of the park which impede ADA accessibility to move through the park. Access to the park is also impeded by poor sidewalks and curb ramps on the corners and the surrounding perimeter. There's a number of mature and declining trees, including some Austrian pines and ash and other trees that are not doing well in this climate at this time. The bocce courts are in poor condition. They're made of wood and astroturf, and the wood is aged and split. They don't meet the game standards for the size or style of the court. There used to be a memorial garden, which the neighborhood had installed along the entrance, right at the entrance on Pacific and Charlotte. You can point roughly where that is. And that memorial garden was dedicated to a neighborhood leader, and it has since been removed because the plantings got too tall, and there was some concern about people hiding in the plants. And so there's a desire on the neighborhood's part to recreate a version of that. There was also a plaque there which was stolen. Oh, no, the plaque there was hit by a car. The other plaque was stolen. The park is very hot in the summer. It's very exposed to the freeway. Right above it, here at the south edge, is the highway. And it's also very windy and very hot. There is a gazebo in the park, but it needs to be repainted. And there's also a granite paver fountain at the north end of the park, which has not operated in many years and needs to be removed. Like I said, the play area is about 14 years old. And the park is heavily used by neighbors for walking and sitting and chatting and meeting. It's really got some beautiful little corners, and it's very popular, but it's got some other problems. People come from all the way under the bridge on Charlotte from downtown and walk through the park. The other major issue is currently there is a sidewalk right on Independence Avenue at the curb, which is very close to the busy traffic and really kind of a duplicate sidewalk because the sidewalk in the park is just a few feet away. So the issues that the neighborhood has raised and that we've set as the criteria and the goals for the plan are on the next page, and how we've addressed some of those. And there's also a smaller copy of the plan if you can't see the board in your packet. First and foremost, I want to improve the circulation to the park and within the park. So one of the first things we want to do is address all of the entrance points to the park. Each of the entries will be redesigned. On Charlotte, there are two entrances. You want to be my Vanna White? Sure. Point to the new entrance. There's what we call, that entrance and the Pacific Street entrance, which is the sort of main entrance. And those two have both recently gotten new crosswalks put in by Public Works because they've redesigned some of the movement through that street, and they've done some traffic calming through there. So there's two new crosswalks there which don't align with the current entries. So we want to realign our entrances to match up with those new crosswalks to make it easier to see into the park and walk into the park. And then the north corner where the northeast, either one, the northeast corner has the historic staircase, so we want to keep that staircase, renovate it, and bring it up to standards. But then we're going to redesign the ramp, which is right next to it, to make it a more accessible handicap ramp. And then the west entrance, the northwest corner, will get a new curb ramp, corner ramp, and a wider, more graceful entrance into the park. The south entrance off of the south corner and down at the bottom at Independence, thank you. That is going to be combined. The park walk and the street walk will be combined into the park, brought away from the curb, so it gives us room for trees and a better canopy along that edge. The other aspect of the circulation improvements involves the internal paths within the park, which are redesigned completely to allow a variety of movement options from corner to corner and long loops and short loops and exercise loops. We're going to remove both of the staircases inside the park and completely regrade and reconstruct the entire path system. And it'll unify the two halves of the park with a single flowing and curvilinear style design, which is currently lacking. And all of the routes will meet accessibility standards. The main entrance will have, at Pacific Street, that's considered pretty much the main entrance to the park, and there will be some form of pergola or arbor there to kind of accent and explain that is the sort of main entrance point. That central access walk will cross the park, pretty much straight across the middle of the park, with the two small plaza areas that'll serve as meeting spaces and organizational spaces to redirect to different directions as you turn through the park. Another major aspect of the park goals was to recreate the bocce courts. They're very popular, and we want to rebuild them closer to the center of the park. And you can point, thank you. That's going to be sort of a central feature of the park. They're very popular, and we want to get those up to game standards and also to meet ADA, and we'll have better pavement around them. Another aspect is the need for shelter, gathering space, some kind of focal point, but we didn't want to have something with a solid roof, which would provide too much of a place to live for people that might be spending too much time in the park. So.
Very kind.
So it's an arbor, a shade arbor. There'll be placed just to the south of the bocce courts. It would provide some shade as well as a kind of focal point and gathering space for neighborhood picnics and weddings and other events. There'll also be additional benches placed all throughout the park in various locations to provide a variety of shade or sun, depending on the time of the day. We're going to improve the picnic area by building a new picnic grove, which will be built in a European, sort of European park image, and that will have a decomposed granite surface with the trees growing right through it, and then the picnic tables underneath. We want to relocate the walks so that we maintain some larger open space areas. Right now, the lawn is kind of cut in half by a diagonal walk through the middle. And then a major goal is to add as many new trees as we can and revitalize the lawn. We want to plant a variety of trees so that there's never again just one species anywhere. We'll have some hedge against any future invasions of nasty green bugs from Asia. And so we're going to have a variety of accent trees, shade trees, and also the ornamental trees, which will kind of highlight the certain key points in the areas of the park. We want to revitalize the lawn. I think, as I told you before, a lot of the lawn is pretty much growing on, weeds growing into the gravel that used to be the larger play area and some of the other things that were there. It's not really great soil, and the lawns show it. So we want to get a new topsoil in and hydroseed the lawns. We are including an option for restoring the memorial garden that used to be at Charlotte Entry, which is the little colorful strip. You probably don't know. It's this area along here, or any component of that area, as much or as little as the neighborhood feels they can maintain, to put in some perennial flowers there. And we will have that's number 9, we will have 2 more drinking fountains. So there'll be, for instance, a drinking fountain here, which will have a hose valve that can water that memorial garden, and a drinking fountain over here in this picnic grove, which will serve the play area, the gazebo, picnic grove, and the bocce courts, so it's kind of centrally located. The third drinking fountain is currently at the north corner, and it will stay roughly where it is now. One of the things we've talked about doing is an artifact wall, which will sort of be some way of celebrating and referencing the school that used to be there. We have in storage the letters from the old Carnes School. Each letter is a large carved stone, K-A-R. So we have those in the caves. I'd like to incorporate them into some kind of a low wall that would be set there by the shade arbor. We also have the little granite pavers from the fountain that's currently at the north end of the park, so I think we can incorporate both of those things into the same wall. Eventually, we want to replace the play area. It's 14 years old now. It's not in bad shape right now, but it won't last forever. So when we do that, we've designated a larger area for a larger, more varied playground with different kinds of play equipment. And then lastly, we want to improve the lighting throughout the park in the current gazebo shelter, and also the pedestrian lighting throughout the whole park. Those are the basic plan elements. I met with the Green Space Committee of the Downtown Council. They've been instrumental in helping to get some of the funding that we currently have, and they were very enthusiastic, and I think they're going to help us continue to get funding in future years. So, Mr. Keys, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Quick thumbnail, I don't want to take up a lot of time.
If you don't mind, would you mind just,
Oh.
because that way we get it for the record, get you on TV and
Thank you.
let everybody see and hear.
Quick thumbnail of Columbus Park. It's the Lawrence edition. which is, as I understand, the first subdivision in Kansas City. So you can see we're quite old. The neighborhood people love this park. In the upper portion, there used to be, the upper half of the park, used to be a large circular wading pool, which my mother tells me about. I choke up on this. She used to sit on the edge of it and dangle her feet in there. And it was just built for the neighborhood to have a place in the summertime to get cool. But that's long gone, obviously. And then there was Carnes School, which all of my family went to. So I'm very familiar with this park. Matter of fact, I live across it, across the street. It is one of the few parks that you can go there at any half hour of the day and you will find someone who is using this park. There is yoga going on over there. There are the homeless, obviously, walking through and resting. There are people at noon who come and eat their lunch from downtown, from the city market and other places. Bocce is played there quite on the weekends usually. So it's a very active park in terms of people using it individually. See a lot of like Don Bosco, which is the senior center, which is to the right of the drawing there, and a number of the people there in wheelchairs and whatever come across and putter around and whatever they do. But so it's a very, very active park, and we have fought to maintain it as a neighborhood park, not something other than being used by the neighborhood, because that's what it's for. As I say, we're very proud of it, and we work very hard at trying to help you keep it in good shape. And I must say, I commend Mark and his staff and Jocelyn and the maintenance people. They have really taken care of it. They've always, when we have an issue in their park, they're there that day. When we call them, we say we got a problem, they're there. If it's removing a tree that's blown down because of high winds, or if it's even, the dog bags, we say, hey, we're out, because this is a park where people bring their dogs. And they respond, and I appreciate that, Mark.
Thank you.
So, like I say, we're anxious to get this going, and we would like for you to start tomorrow, if possible. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. It means a lot to have our residents come out and not just participate in the planning process, but to always be advocates for the neighborhood parks and parks in the city. So thank you for your time. Truly appreciate that. With that, is there a motion to approve? Oh, would you?
Yes, quick. Is there an engineer's estimate on what the phase one cost will be?
Phase one is, we currently have about $200,000,
Mm-hmm.
so phase one will be $200,000, whatever I can get for that.
Okay.
My goal right now is to do from this walk and south,
Okay.
and to try to get the regrading and the walks, the main walks at least, in that portion, and the bocce courts, to get all of that in phase one.
Okay.
We may have to slim the walks down and maybe leave a few for later. But it's a lot of grading, and I think the big unknown is that we're not entirely sure what's underground when that school was torn down, what's buried.
Mhm.
So as I regrade, I just want to leave a little elbow room for what we might find and have to fill in and whatever.
Great. Thank you.
Also, I didn't mention on the back page, you have just some images that are similar images of things that we want to, what we're shooting for, basically.
Great job. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Is there a
Ralph.
motion to approve the Columbus Park Master Plan? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There you go. And it's approved. Resolution number 30252 regarding Frank Rydick Park.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a resolution to accept an addition to Frank Vedic Park, 19.3 acres, which is on the southern part of the park, right off of North Englewood and Wacomas. You have a memo in your packet from Travis Kiefer that explains the details, and also there's a resolution of support. And if you have any questions, Travis is here, and Travis, you might want to mention why you're here today talking about this. instead of the other person that normally does this?
Well, Mr. Director, you're kind of ruining the agenda for the 29th. So, Mr. Abbott, our park planner, typically handles these issues, and he is retiring at the end of this month, and 31st of July. So,
He'll be back on the 29th.
we'll have him here on the
He's doing
29th.
So I'm outside this.
But anyway, so ask Travis a tough question here now. He can see if he's learning this stuff.
Yeah, the dimensions of that.
On the Parks Committee of the Northland Chamber, this has been an issue for
Yeah.
about 17 years.
Yes.
How come it got settled now?
Yeah, there you go.
I got him.
Yeah.
You told me to.
This property had actually been for sale several times. And Steve had been contacted by the current owners to say, are you interested? We're willing to donate it. Because that property was held, it's, like I said, about 20 acres, and it was held because the owner was also a developer to the property to the west and also south of Platte Woods Park. And it fully anticipated developing this property. But with the market the way it went, he said no.
And the cost of 54th Street, I think, was his major issue that he would have had to put in, and it's been a break for us, and I'm glad we finally have this piece of property. It's a tremendous addition to that park. And it's adjacent to the Line Creek Trail
Right.
that runs right by it, so it's a natural.
And you see tons of people using that trail all the time, so it's great. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution number 30253.
Yes, Commissioners, Nero's working his way to the podium. He's going to talk to you about the third annual Bonspiel curling event. Third annual, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And this is Line Creek Community Center coming up in August of this year, and recommend approval. Go ahead, Nero.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So, of course, at Line Creek, you're all aware that we have a Kansas City Curling Club who's been there for the last 4 years. They are just concluding their informal summer curling season, and at the end of the league, what they'd like to do is plan their Bonspiel, which is a competition with other curling clubs throughout the Midwest region. The Bonspiel is usually held annually, and this year we will be attracting over 30 teams from the surrounding area, some making a fairly large track. This will be held August 8th, 9th, and 10th, and we are expecting to generate over $6,000 in revenue from our ice rental. Now, what they are asking is seeking a facility use agreement with us that gives them permission to have a caterer with a liquor license to dispense beer and serve food. There will be no cash sales. This is just for their private use of their invitees. So, staff is recommending approval.
Are there any questions or comments?
Is this about the same size they had last year?
Yes. Well, actually, they're hoping for, there's been more inquiry this year, so that we're seeking a few more teams.
I think it's great.
Is curling and liquor safe at the same time, you guys? No, I'm just
You
kidding.
know, as long as they keep the sticks down.
They don't pick the stones up.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
I think they go together, right?
Exactly.
Your
After a while, they're
tradition.
just pushing the people down.
And then we've done some reconditioning and resurfacing of the ice there this summer,
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And so,
so the facility's in good condition too, so it'll show well.
as of right now.
Okay, great.
Very good. Is there any other questions or comments? All right, with that, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Okay, I'll
Resolution
motion
number 30254.
Yes, Commissioners, another annual event. This one happens to be the Northland Swim Conference to be conducted later this month up at the Springs Aquatic Center. Recommend approval. You have a memo in your packet from Doug Schroeder outlining the details. And a quick question, Doug, how does this 5,700 compare to last year's?
It's a little higher than last year. It includes, I'm sorry,
It's a little higher than last year because we're doing 3 days. They did 2 years last year, 2 days last year, and they had the 7 and 8-year-olds out at, I think, Old Pike is where they had them.
Right.
So they brought them back, so it's a little higher from last year, just to cover salaries and your lifeguards, security, and all that.
Okay. There's your answer.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Great. Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So
Is
moved.
there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. The resolution passes. Resolution number 30255.
Yes, Commissioners, as you're probably aware, this year we're doing one of our Club KC activities over at Arts Tech, and it's been going very successfully. And fortunately, we have some additional funds to expand that program, and the memo before you makes that request. And Roosevelt is here if you have any questions, or maybe Roosevelt can tell us a bit about this.
So Arts Tech is one of 5 of our vendors for Club KC. They're located in kind of the east crossroads area off 15th and Holmes. And we're asking for this expansion. We're asking for a little bit more funds in their contract. We recently got a donation, 2 private donations, one of $10,000, one of $5,000, one from a Dr. Irene Bettinger, the other from a Lowe Family Foundation. They had contacted us unsolicited from us. They just contacted us. They had saw the program in the Kansas City Star. I wanted to know more about it. They were really interested in this idea of arts and kind of nighttime activities for our youth and arts exploration. So I sat down and talked with her along with one of the representatives from the mayor's office. They continue to be excited. They said they'd be interested in donating. So they actually came out to an event, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and the mayor was there. There was a good story in the Kansas City Star actually about it. And they hung out with the kids almost all night and had a lot of fun. So they committed to donating the money with a specific intent of expanding the program from 5 nights, which is what we had it budgeted at, to 8 nights. So this gives us 3 more nights there. Arts Tech has been a phenomenal partner. They do a great program. They do a good job of including the youth in that planning process to the point where they actually pay some of the youth for wages to plan that and design the sets. And it's a really cool scene. It's been one of the better, I don't want to say better, but it's been a great program, definitely. We're glad to have them as partners, and they've fulfilled all of our wishes so far, so.
Very good. Well, Dave Sullivan runs a good shop over there, and
He
it's a
does.
great program and beautiful space as well, and I'm glad, good location too.
Yeah, he's there every night till they close, so he's always good. He's a good guy.
Very good.
Well, extend our gratitude to the donors if you ever have the chance. That's really, really nice of them.
Definitely. And the mayor has also talked to them and thanked them as well, so.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, there's been a motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Apologies. Resolution number 30256.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a consideration of a bid award for the Garrison Community Center Tornado Safe Room, which is coming from a FEMA grant along with some local dollars. We recommend approval of this contract to KES Construction Company. If you have any questions, Travis is here to answer those.
Okay. Any questions or comments about this? I think we went through this a while back.
Yeah, I've talked about this.
Yep, very good. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good, the resolution passes. Resolution number 30257.
Yes, Commissioner, this is a companion resolution. It goes back to the same contract we just approved for the Garrison Community Center. This is architectural services with the firm of Draw Architect and Urban Design. And again, recommend approval. Again, Travis is here if you have any questions.
Okay, great. Any questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good, resolution passes. Resolution number 30258.
Yes, Commissioner, change order number 5 with DD Custom Construction for a variety of items, primarily stone, masonry, concrete work throughout the Portland Boulevard system, and the memo spells out the detail of that. And again, if you have any questions, Travis is here.
Any questions of Travis regarding this resolution? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Let's see, we are on to 30259.
Yes, change order number 1, National Streetscape. Again, this is some work out in the field. Bulk of the work in that second paragraph is mentioned. It's on Gillum and Woodland, Lexington, Wabash, Shoal Creek, and another location throughout the city. Again, Travis here if you have any questions.
Okay. All right, any questions? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 30260.
Citywide playground improvements, Mega Industries, change order number 1. They're again spelled out in detail in that second paragraph, primarily with accessibility ramps and walks to the playgrounds. Again, Travis here if you have any questions.
Okay. Does anybody want to put Travis on the hook, at least for one of these? Or no? Just gonna, all right, I take there's no questions, comments, all right? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, second, is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion seconded, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution number 30261.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a change order with Gunter Construction for the next phase of improvements to Hidden Valley Park, which is primarily the shelter. I'm going a little beyond the shelter with sitting wall and shelter pad and site retaining wall and picnic tables and barbecue grills and a lot of good stuff. And Travis here if you have any questions. And
This is great.
I'm sure we've run this one by Mr. Nelson.
We got an email from Mr. Nelson regarding the improvements done and the handling of the 4th of July in that park, and that is really a star for everybody involved, and I think Forrest needs to be commended for that in having him be really on our side, and again, he's a tremendous advocate for parks in Kansas City. He watches us very closely, and he makes sure we do things the right way, and when we do, he's at least nice enough to thank us for it, and I appreciate that.
Good, good.
Great, great comment. Is there a motion to accept the resolution?
So, second.
Motion seconded, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 30262.
Yes, Commissioner, change order number 2 with Blue Moon Hauling for trail construction. And spelled out in the memo from Travis, it makes note of the work that's involved. They're working on 2 different sites. This is the ones for Little Blue Valley Park and also Garney Park. Is that correct, Travis?
Yes, Director. Actually, there were 3 sites involved in this, if you include the barn site where they did the demo of the barn down in Minor
Oh,
Park.
yeah.
But
That's right.
there was a question earlier about some of the work up at Ann Garney Park, and just to refresh your memory, this is the project that was taking the millings from the racetrack down at Little Blue Valley Park and using it for trails in both Little Blue Valley and Ann Garney Park. And so the grading has been done for the entire trail, and a lot of the drainage structures, as far as the pipes and so forth, up at Ann Garney Park have been put in. So, you know, they've received some rain down there, so when the weather breaks, they will get the millings hauled up to get the base in for that trail up in Garney Park. So they are moving on that. And the same with Little Blue Valley Park. Obviously, they don't have as far to haul.
What will the access be to Garney Park?
It will be off of Woodland.
Okay.
Now, the full parking lot is actually in the next phase.
Okay,
So it's not part of this initial contract, but it'd be in the next phase.
okay.
And that parking lot will be off of Woodland, future Maple Woods Parkway.
If they get the trail in, will the people be able to access it in the interim until that parking lot is put in?
Yes, yes. It will at least have a base down to where they can get off of Woodland and park there without the full-blown parking lot and striping and that sort of thing.
Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Resolution number 30263 regarding gifts and contributions.
Yes, Commissioners, we have 4 gifts. The first 2 are the ones that Roosevelt made reference to earlier for Club KC. And the other two are for members of the Enshriners for the Memorial Endowment Fund.
Very good. Is there a motion to accept the gifts?
So moved.
There you go. So I'm assuming there's a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Very good. Resolution passes. On to the director's report.
Travis?
You're wearing the carpet out.
Sit closer, we won't bite.
I need to exercise.
Good afternoon. We have a project before you today, the Liberty Memorial site improvements, specifically the North Fountains. Now, the North Fountains were part of a just shy of $2.5 million project that included the repairing the roof of the exhibit hall, the repairs on the tower, repairs on the north wall, various leak repairs and miscellaneous repairs around the museum and the site itself, the observation deck, and also the restoration of the bronze doors. This is the last of those improvements. And the contractual completion date would be August 1st. Now, talking to Jimmy Lossing's project manager on this project, she said they're making every effort to try to have this ready for the Fiery Stick event that's occurring on Friday.
Right.
And so they're trying to get this buttoned up just as fast as they can out there, because that's going to be a fairly major event, the hole-in-one golf event on the lawn, so.
Well, these back pictures are real time. That's how it looks today.
Yeah.
Right,
Those
now,
were just taken this morning, I think.
what you can't see, because these are taken during the daylight, is the lack of lighting
Yeah, the lights,
installation. So that's what they're trying to get wrapped up now.
I know the water is operating right now.
Yes.
Yeah, looks nice.
That's fantastic. Oh, good.
And then Fiery Sticks Friday.
Friday. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Heidi?
Good afternoon. Happy National Parks and Recreation Month.
Yes, happy back to you.
Thank you. No one ever says that to me. Anyway, I wanted to thank you, Commissioner Mecklenburg, for coming out on Saturday evening for the opening of the Choteau Parkway dedication at Choteau Greenway Park. Is a prelude to the Hot Trot. So we had Congressman Cleaver out there as well as several city council members and former city council members. So we had a really good ribbon cutting. And then Mark McHenry went on and represented Kansas City Parks and Rec in the race. And I do believe he won his age group.
Yes, I got a medal.
He got a medal, so yay.
It was 92 degrees.
It was super hot, but yeah, it couldn't have been like today, right? But
But there was a wonderful breeze.
it was a beautiful night. It was actually, that park is so picturesque. It was really a quite lovely evening, so thank you. As I mentioned, it is National Parks and Recreation Month, and we are busy going about with our outing of the day. So we have an event every day that we do, because the theme this year is Out is In. And we have been tweeting and Facebooking out the outing, and then in the afternoon go out with some interns and give gift items, which you have some examples of there, to people who are actually participating in that activity as part of our Park It Forward program. So we did that last year, had great success. We're doing it again this year and just having a lot of fun with it. So we're halfway through the month, and which puts us just in time for our big National Parks and Recreation Month celebration, which is Kansas City's Big Picnic. Hopefully you've been hearing a lot about this. We've been getting some good media on it. But that does take place this Sunday, and it is a partnership with the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in celebration the 25th anniversary of the Donald J. Hall Sculpture Garden. So what we are doing is closing off Manuel Cleaver Boulevard there between Tice Park and the Sculpture Garden at Nelson Atkins, and making it one giant lawn for Kansas City to have its biggest picnic ever, is what we're hoping. So some of the things that we have going on that day, it is a free event, of course, but we invite everyone to come out, and it's also National Ice Cream Month, which I think is good, because you can eat your ice cream and then you can work it off with Parks and Recreation. But Bluebell will be out there giving free scoops of their ice cream of the month, which I found out is Magic Cookie Bar. So it's very delicious looking. And so you can come out and try it out. We're also going to have an art installation of checkerboard pattern picnic blankets. They did that a couple years ago on the lawn. They're going to recreate that in various areas. Stone Lion Puppet Theater is going to be out there with their giant ants and giant picnic baskets. We're having children's art activities, a best packed picnic basket contest, which will be curated by one of the chefs at the museum. So pack your picnic, bring it out there. Or, if you'd like, you can pre-order a picnic from the museum. The deadline is tomorrow to do that, but it's a pretty good deal. You get a commemorative bag and 4 sandwiches, 4 bags of chips, 4 cookies, and 4 bottles of water that you can either eat yourself or share with a friend or 2. I'm really excited about, we added a quick paint contest. You know how we've been having a lot of these kind of plein air contests around in Penn Valley Park, for instance, and then also on Brush Creek. But we are done and call for artists to come out and paint and capture the spirit of the big picnic. And then they'll be awarded with a purchase award there that evening, one of them. So that's pretty cool. And then we're going to be taking the big picnic droney, which is the selfie of the drone world. So they don't call it drones anymore. It's a multi-rotor camera, flying camera. Will be coming. They don't. He said not to call them drones anymore. I just did. You can call them dronies. Multi-rotor camera. We'll be flying over the big picnic at 7:15, so everybody can look up and smile. Or look down if you don't want to be a part of it. So the weather looks great. We're super excited for this event and hope that you guys can come out and do the joint celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Sculpture Garden and National Parks and Recreation Month.
Good. Good event, good event.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot more, but yeah. You can read about it. Thank you.
Well, we don't have anybody signed up for a public hearing. We just want to do a quick review of the calendar and we can adjourn.
Yeah, halfway through the summer.
Yes.
Next board meeting's on the 29th. And then, which gets us into the month of August. And a couple board meetings and then a couple of our normal partner meetings, Platte County Parks and Starlight. That's it.
Sounds all right now. So that's all right. Anything else for the good work? Nope. With that, meeting is adjourned.
I will not be at the next